Hello everybody, my name is Luke Marr and this is Hot Mode, and today on Hot Mode we're getting into the 2025 Oscars Red Carpet Fashion Roast and Review. There's a lot to discuss. This is going to be a part one because there were a lot of looks, and so without further ado, let's get into it. Well, actually, quickly, yes, I'm wearing a bathrobe. Yes, I'm not in my usual filming station. It's the middle of Fashion Week. I'm currently actually filming something really exciting that I can't wait to come out. I'm really tired and I'm being lazy and I'm wearing this beautiful bathrobe from the Bristol Hotel. So, shout out to the Bristol. First up, let's start with Adrian Brody, who is wearing Giorgio Armani. I don't know if he's wearing full Giorgio Armani exclusively, and I say that because he's wearing a black tuxedo. It's well fitted, it looks nice, there's nothing crazy, nothing super exciting, but also it's an Armani suit, so like I don't think it's really meant to be. It's meant to just be classic casual Oscars man. There seems to be a brooch of some sort that's sitting on one of his shoulders or one of his pectoral, shoulder, armpit, midway points that looks like a bird. It looks like a green jeweled bird with big wings and lovely diamonds or crystals. And I do know that Giorgio Armani does crystals very, very well. They shine quite brightly. So I wouldn't be shocked, but I also wondered if there was some sort of jewelry company that actually provided this brooch and it's more of like a piece of jewelry than just something that is crystal encrusted by Armani. So I don't really know, but what I'm going to say is if you're going to wear a pretty standard, kind of classic, sometimes boring suit, dressing it up with something like that brooch, I think really sort of changes it. It's not a super big crystal emerald sitting in the center, has a sort of ornamental vintage feeling to it. Rather, I think it's strong and beautiful, striking. It feels like it fits with the look. So I'm actually kind of not mad about this moment. Next up, we have Ariana Grande, who is wearing Schiaparelli haute couture, and it's custom. Now, I know that all haute couture is custom to the person wearing it, but what I think is really funny about the Schiaparelli look is the fact that it's actually different from the runway version. So if we look at the runway version, we can see it's beautiful heart-shaped bodice that comes out with these gorgeous wide circular godets. A godet is a sort of panel of fabric that's meant to arch and sort of allow fabric to come from behind it. So maybe they're not really godets, maybe it's more a peplum and fabric comes out of the peplum. I'm not exactly sure of like the technical capabilities of it. But the thing is, the runway version is much more simple in its tulle fabric that juts out. It's a beige, it's not really crazy. But Ariana's is full of little crystals, which I actually think is brilliant. It's really simple, it's really elegant, it's really effortless, but it completely changes the look to me. It adds a shine, it adds a sheen, a glamour. I also don't know if it's just the lighting difference between the runway and the lighting at the Oscars, but Ariana's looks a little bit more pink, which honestly I think is kind of perfect for her. I also like the jewelry that she's wearing. It's a little De Beers necklace, nothing crazy, but at the same time, the necklace and the neckline actually give each other a lot of space to work well. I thought it was a great look. I know a lot of people predicted that this was going to be the look that she wore. Kudos to them. I think that's fun and cool, and I love when people get to engage with fashion. I love to be right, so I get that. Honestly, yeah, I think it's a cool look. I think it's beautiful. I also think it keeps in with that classic glamour that one expects at the Oscars, and this is a perfect example of how to both be exciting and do something that feels new and yet at the same time feel appropriate for the event. I should also add that the reason I say it's custom is haute couture clients, again, it's fitted to their bodies, but they also sometimes, most of the time I think, are allowed to change certain elements of garments and clothes depending on if they like certain things or they don't, and if it's possible, and usually if you have enough money, anything is possible. The fact that the crystals are added on there, to me, and it being custom and being haute couture is like a cool, interesting element. Next up, we have Colman Domingo, who is wearing custom Valentino, Boucheron jewelry, and an Omega watch. I like this suit. I think it's fun. I think it's different. I think it's a cool way to take on a tuxedo cut without it really being out there in terms of silhouette. The thing that really sets it apart, obviously, is the fact that the jacket is almost fully red except for the black lapels, and the fact that you have a sash that sort of ties around the waist, has a sort of smoking suit feeling to it. It's very Alessandro Michele. It's very sort of vintage glamour, looking at historical menswear and playing on that and taking from it. Even the black tassels at the end of the sash are honestly beautiful, and they play in with the pops of black from the pant, the shoe, the lapel. It's great. I will say maybe a tie of sort would have been better, or maybe a more interesting collar, maybe even more interesting buttons. That would be like my one singular gripe with the look. but again, it's like that's a real nitpicky thing. I'm not really mad about it. It's just Colman's so good in so many details that I want to look at all of them and talk about all of them. I like the watch. I like the jewelry. I think it's beautiful. He looks great. And again, I get it to the Oscars, so as much as I love Kooky Crazy out there, we'll wait till the Vanity Fair after party to discuss those kinds of things. But I think, again, this is a cool way of making something interesting, something that we'll actually be able to dissect a little bit more, actually like have something to say, still keeping within the idea of like what is somewhat traditional attire for the event. Next up, we have Cynthia Erivo, who she doesn't care, and I love it. I think it's the best thing. She's wearing custom Louis Vuitton and also Roberto coin jewelry. It's this big green pannier gown with an off-the-shoulder sort of bow wraparound bodice detail and a collar, like a stiff green collar. And I just think she looks like, I don't know, a modern reinterpretation of like 18th century court dress mixed with a Elizabethan ruff, but like unruffed, and rather that was brought out from the back area and onto a collar of sorts. Like, it's just weird and it's funky and it's fascinating. I think the deep green velvet was actually the perfect choice for it, because any other color, maybe except black, maybe navy blue, it would sort of take you out of it being like regal and a little smart and make it a little costumey, a little more costumey. And I think you really teeter the edge here. Like, it is elegant, it is over the top, but it's also glamorous, it's gowny, it has a quirk to it, I think, because of the collar. She's just a character, and I like the way that her and her stylist Jason Bolden sort of come up with these things. They just are fashion girls, and I can say that as somebody that's met Cynthia. She really is somebody that, from my interactions, likes clothing. She likes history, she likes fashion, she likes design, and it's always nice to see, as I would say, a clothes horse at events like this, because they really love the art of getting dressed, and I think Cynthia is that. And this is just, again, another great example of it. She deserves it because she's a fashion girly and we like to see it. As for the jewelry, again, like, love the rings. I think they play into everything she does. Love the earrings, love the nose ring. Like, she's just a glamour girl. Next up, we have Elle Fanning, and usually standing Elle Fanning. She is wearing the first, or well, it is technically the first that we've seen, custom Givenchy by Sarah Burton. If you don't know Sarah Burton, she used to be the creative director of McQueen after Alexander McQueen sadly passed away. She did it for, I think it was almost 20 years. Great designer, great human being, from what I understand. Carrying on that legacy, iconic. But she now is going to be designing Givenchy. She's having her show this week. It's in a few days. I'm very excited to see what she brings. And so this is really the first look we're getting at by Sarah Burton. Elle is wearing a white lace gown with a black satin bow at the waist, which I know people are going to be like, including me initially when I saw it. Like, I saw it at first and I was like, it's pretty, you know, beautiful white lace, black bow. Like, it's nice, it's cute, it's fun. But the thing is, if you look at the dress from the back, you can actually see that there is an added train that sort of flows out and creates even more volume towards the back. It doesn't feel costumey. It doesn't reference to me like bustles or anything like that. It really feels like something that Hubert de Givenchy would have done, which is funny because it's actually a reference to a spring 1952 Givenchy gown. It's a beautiful white lace style with a big black bow, and there's some sort of train at the back that the model carries. It might be a stole. I'm not exactly certain. Obviously, they lengthen this gown, so it's not sort of T-length. Rather, it's like full floor length. And I don't know. I think she looks great. I like it. I think it's not super attention-grabbing, which I think if you're not nominated at the Oscars, people try, I think, to not be the most attention-grabbing. But I think it, honestly, again, it walks the tightrope in a good way. I really like the jewelry. I think the necklace, it's by Cartier. These sort of swags of diamonds are really quite lovely, curtain-like. I think she did a good job, again, of doing classic glamour that has an intriguing element. Next up, we have Fernanda Torres, who is wearing Chanel. Now, I think this is Chanel Haute Couture, but it's been changed a little bit. I believe that the skirt is much more opaque, and honestly, I think that's probably for the best. I think something about the top of the dress has also been changed. Listen, normally it'd be like, ooh, feathers that create like a faux peplum, not good. Honestly, I think it's like the most fun and most embellishment that she's really done the entirety of the award season. So I'm into that. It feels like a celebration of the end of award season. I also feel like in movement, it was better than just stagnant looking. I think that the way the feathers flowed and moved, and the fact that you also have the white tips on the end of the feathers, does sort of help to add a little bit more texture to it. Overall, I thought it was nice. Not amazing, but nice. But again, we've yet to enter the new Chanel era, so I'm going to take what we can get here, and again, in motion, looks better. Next up, we have Halle Berry, who is wearing Christian Siriano and jewelry by Pomellato. Honestly, I do like the dress, even though I don't love the maker always. And I do feel like we've been seeing a lot of these sort of stained glass dresses recently. I feel like we saw them a little bit at McQueen. We've seen them from Oscar de la Renta. They've been around. I just oftentimes feel that Christian Siriano sees what the zeitgeist is and is like, let me do that. And the original work, I guess, isn't really that much better, but still, just jarring. But I do think that if you're going to copy things, be a good copyist. And this, I think, works. I think it fits her really, really well. I do think that the acrylic, I assume they're acrylic, they're not actually glass pieces. Maybe they are glass. I think that they create an interesting motif throughout, not really super dramatic and graphic, but I definitely do think that they keep your interest as you move down the front and the back of the dress. Honestly, I think the jewelry all works. I think she looks lovely. I think the use of a lot of, I assume, pave diamonds actually helps again to play into that reflective element of the mirroring of the dress. So it's good. Next up, we have Isabella Rossellini when in Rome. Do as Romans do. So, Isabella Rossellini is wearing Dolce & Gabbana and Bvlgari jewelry. Honestly, the Bvlgari jewelry is crazy. These big sapphires, the diamonds really work. I like the brooch. I like the necklace. We'll get to the earrings in a minute. But this dress, Dolce & Gabbana, normally I'd be like, but it's a blue velvet full gown with a long cloak that's attached. It has little arm sleeves. It's actually a nice reference, an homage to her friend David Lynch, the director who passed away recently. From what I've read, Isabella apparently was hearing about David Lynch's passing as she was getting ready to prepare the look for the Oscars, so she talked to Dolce & Gabbana about doing this. The thing is, she was in a David Lynch film called Blue Velvet, where she actually wore blue velvet, and so this was her way of paying homage to her friend David Lynch, the director. And honestly, I think it's cool. Like, you look at the box art of Blue Velvet, and there's crushed blue velvet. This is crushed blue velvet. She wears crushed blue velvet. I've never seen the movie, so I don't really know why she's holding a knife and she wants to murder, but to each their own. The other thing is there's another homage throughout the look, and it's these earrings, which were actually earrings that were owned by her mother, Ingrid Bergman. You can see in the picture of Ingrid that Isabella is paying homage to multiple people throughout her time. And I believe the earrings that she wore must be the ones that Ingrid Bergman wore when she won an Oscar. So again, like paying homage to all these people, her mother was an actress. So I think that's cool. I like that. Next up, we have Jeff Goldblum, who is wearing Prada and Vacheron Constantin. It's my least favorite Jeff Goldblum look. Like, I appreciate the white tuxedo jacket with the purple scarf. I like the fact that he's doing a printed shirt and a bow tie. It's some sort of floral print, I assume. The black pant, the black shoe, it's fine. I like the corsage of weird flowers too. They're cool. I just think that something about the shirt doesn't land graphically. I would have preferred a different print. It's personal preference. I just don't think the print works here. I think the purple stole is cool. It's simple, it's clean, and there's a little pop of fun in the brooch and in the scarf. I think maybe the shirt, because the print doesn't land to me, is a little overkill and takes you out of the fantasy. I would have preferred like a Prada embellishment, a floral embellishment with big crystals or rhinestones, and that would have been fun to me. It would have really maybe sold it. Next up, we have Jeremy Strong, who's wearing Loro Piana, and his watch is by Richard Mille. I like this shade. It's almost like a more sagey green, but it's definitely a green. I like it. I think it works with his sort of skin tone. I think it actually plays off really well, and it's a color I feel like we don't really see that much. To me, it also feels very Loro Piana, minimal, whatever. Let it be about the color. I think the fit of the pant is good. It's not great, but I also think that the pant isn't the problem. The shoe is really where I'm like, oh, a little slipper. I hate a little slipper. I do love the tie. I don't really understand how it works. I don't understand if it crosses over and like wraps around the body. I don't know, but I think it's cool. I think it's fun. I think it's interesting. Overall, he needed to do something probably a little bit more classic, but I appreciate it again. The tie, even the slipper, even though I don't love it, there's little elements of his wackiness that he likes to do. I'm also going to say it. I think he was robbed for supporting actor because I saw him in The Apprentice. Scary. He was like not Jeremy Strong at all. maybe he was, but like he was terrifying. Next up, we have Jesse Eisenberg. This one's going to be quick. It's Dior Men. It's just like, is he going to a funeral? Is he going to his high school reunion? Is he going to a wedding of a old friend in Saskatchewan? I don't know, but it's just like a boring suit on somebody that wants to be boring, and it's boring. And I hate that. And I blame nobody but him because I believe that he's the reason that it's boring. He could make it more fun. He chooses not to. Because, you know, I'm not a Kim Jones Staniana by a long shot, but that most recent Kim Jones collection was rife for picking. You could have whatever you wanted, I'm sure, to the Oscars. And he chose a black suit. And I know it's meant to be classic, but again, I feel like we keep seeing everybody do little fun spins on classic suiting. This is just boring. Next up, we have Kieran Culkin, who's wearing Xenia, Leighton Jewels, and Omega. Kieran Culkin, if you were watching, I apologize. It's nothing personal. I didn't see your movie, but I saw Jeremy Strong, and again, I was scared. I think the Xenia's fine. It's definitely different. You have a nice shawl lapel, black shirt, black bow tie, black pant, a little velvety slipper. Like, it's not bad, but I mean, it's certainly far from good. It's just not exciting. It's not interesting. A shawl lapel can only get you so far when the rest of the outfit, I think it kind of sucks. I feel like Xenia is so good. It's so fun. It's so chic. Beautiful color works. And like, it's just so blah. And again, there's ways to make these suits interesting with just subtle little details. We're asking for a little bit. You don't have to do that much. You just kind of have to try, like polka. I do actually kind of love the little brooch jewel thing on the lapel, though. What I assume is a topaz and an emerald, or maybe a yellow diamond and an emerald. I think it's different. It's like a little teardrop on your lapel, so it's fun. Next up, we have Lily Rose Depp, who's wearing vintage Chanel and Chanel fine jewelry. I know I keep talking about classic and things need to be classic, and I want maybe a little bit more excitement. This is not what I meant. I don't think that this Chanel dress is the greatest. Karl Lagerfeld designed a lot of things, and they weren't all great. And I think this is one of those moments, or at least on her in this moment, it's not great. I don't know. Something about this ruffle that like starts at the top of the hip is weird. It feels like it pacifies. It feels kind of baby-ish and like not in like a cutesy fun way. It's in like a, why did you put that baby ruffle over her body? And then also you pair it with the fact that it's like a black lace gown, that it feels even weirder to me. I also don't love the ruffle that goes like around and arches on the thigh. I just don't think this is the best look she could have chosen by a long shot. Next up, we have Lupita Nyong'o, who is wearing Chanel and Chanel fine jewelry as well. I feel like I've seen a few versions of this dress. I feel like I've seen it in black. It's this weird cut off the body at like the tippity top and make it almost like a bikini top, but like an itsy bitsy eeny weeny bikini neckline top thing. I appreciate that it's lined in those pearls though. I think that's cute. And then you get the full crystal that comes down around the bodice. It creates like a fake waistcoat trompe l'oeil thing, but we also have to wrap a satin bow around it for some reason. And then it's just a white pleated skirt. Here's the issue. There's so much happening, and yet so much of the so much is doing so little. For Chanel, take one thing off before you leave the house. Maybe we'd try that in the design process. I don't know. It just like, there's so much, and yet it's like weird, and I don't want to look at it anymore. So let's move along. Next up, we have Margaret Qualley, also in Chanel and Chanel fine jewelry. From the front, I was like, wow, this actually must be the most dastardly thing that she's ever worn because it's so damn boring. It's a black velvet off the shoulder dress. It's form fitting. It doesn't do anything. It's not striking. It's not memorable. It doesn't make me feel anything except melancholy. You make me pull out the SAT words, Chanel. But when she turned around, there was a plunging neckline and the jewelry was on the back. I saw Sabrina Carpenter do it in a J.W. Anderson dress at the Grammys. That one was more interesting than this. This neckline isn't even like that. I mean, it goes down pretty far, but like it's not top of the crack. So I'm not that excited or exhilarated by it. The jewelry is pretty, but not show-stopping. So I feel like we were trying to have like a moment, and like, I don't know, it was like a second, but it's not a moment. I'm just hoping that when Mathieu Blasi comes in, she will be helped for all of our sakes. Next up, we have Michelle Yeoh, who's wearing Balenciaga Haute Couture, as well as Boucheron and Richard Mille. Let's talk about the things I enjoy first. Big, beautiful watch, big, beautiful necklace, big, beautiful earrings, big, beautiful ring. I actually really do like this color on her. It's just Balenciaga Couture, the satin, I get it, but it's hard to like not look at the crinkling of it. And we can say, oh, Demna was trying to do intentional wrinkling. I don't care. I'm bored of it. He put her in like a parka gown a few weeks ago. So like I'm tired. It's just a blue satin wrinkled gown. Sucks. I'd prefer to look at the jewelry than anything else. Speaking of preferring to look at the jewelry, Mikey Madison in Christian Dior and Tiffany & Co. I want to say congratulations to Mikey. She was amazing in Honora. I thought she was fantastic. I'm happy that she won. I hate this dress. I hate this dress so much. I don't know if it's the lighting from the Oscars this year, but something about the satins are sad. They're just really, really sad. I think this one is also sad. I know that this was supposed to be a reference of some sort, I think, to old Dior. It's a black velvet bandeau piece and then a pink satin high waist that in reality is sort of draped on the side to come down and create this train effect. First things first, I don't know if it's just the way she's standing in this photo, but it feels like it hits the floor poorly. The train also feels really rigid and sharp, but also wrinkled and like just doesn't do anything. I don't need the pink bow in the middle. I don't think it was a good dress. I feel like, honestly, she kind of got a little pigeonholed this season. In my brain, I'm like, maybe they thought she couldn't do it now that she won the Oscar. Going forward, she's just going to be able to command whatever she wants. But I would like for her style to develop a little bit more because I don't really understand it. What I do understand is this beautiful drop Tiffany necklace. I think it's lovely. I think it's the best part of the look. Next up, we have Miley Cyrus, who's wearing custom Alexander McQueen and jewelry by Boucheron. I don't hate the dress. I just don't love it either. I'm not super into the black shredder sequin thing. I also think what really is my issue more than anything else is the black velvet hip garter belt panel of fabric that's like ends the shredded sequin thing and then goes into like a more sheer chiffon. I think that her waist and her hips look beautiful. I don't really understand the placement of certain fabric choices, so it wasn't for me. Speaking of it wasn't for me, next up we have Monica Barbaro. I feel like had been doing pretty good and went downhill pretty steadily. She's wearing Christian Dior, problem A. B, it's this high-waisted pink satin skirt. I don't know if you noticed, but we just looked at a high-waisted pink satin skirt by Dior on somebody at the Oscars. So, like, maybe we could have chosen different colors. Just a thought. Monica Barbaro honestly got the worst end of the deal because instead of the black velvet sort of bandeau wrap waist part, she got, like, prickly boob embellishments. She looks like she has cacti, titties. Sorry, I had to do that. I apologize to her, but it's not her fault. I don't understand where the cactitties and the pink Godet satin wrinkle mess come together and play into each other. I don't know. I also noticed that like all of the people who are trying to secure their invites to shows were like posting Monica Barbaro like swinging the skirt around. Didn't make it any better. Did not make it look any better. Got sad. As for the jewelry, honestly, really like the Bvlgari, subtle drop, nothing crazy, looks nice, but again, bad dress. Next up, we have Omar Apollo, who's wearing Valentino, Chopard, and a headpiece by Benata Millinery. Honestly, as far as Valentino goes, like this now is kind of like standard menswear. It's not really the craziest look, but I think it's good. I like the polka dot shirt. I like the black suit, the flare pan, the scarf as a little tie. Again, totally works. It's interesting takes on a black suit. Still somewhat classic, but like different. I think what really sets it apart to me is the headpiece. I like the sort of fishnetty veil. I think it's fun. I think it's very sort of Valentino, even though it's not. It's by an independent headpiece maker, I believe, based in New York. I just think it adds to the look. Again, don't be afraid of headpieces. If Omar Apollo can pull it off, so can everybody else. So yeah, I like the earring. I don't know. I love the headpiece. The suit's good. I'll take it. Next up, we have Ray, who's wearing Vivienne Westwood and Lorraine Schwartz jewelry. Honestly, I don't think I could ask for a better dress on her. I think that she commands in these kinds of styles. I think form-fitting, beautiful draping, off the shoulder, a sort of curved, deepish neckline. It looks lovely. I think the Lorraine Schwartz big ruby on the necklace is fantastic. Again, they give space to each other and they correlate. I never mind seeing a correlating gemstone to the color of the dress. I think it honestly works. I love the way that the dress sort of creates a train in the front as well. She looks stunned. Next up, we have Sebastian Stan, who's wearing Prada. I love this. I don't know what the watch jewelry situation is because I am still blocked on Instagram by his stylist. And in case you're wondering, I did try to use a Finsta. I am blocked on all accounts. I love this. I know it's, again, simple black suit, tuxedo, nothing crazy, but what I think is really the best part about it, and honestly probably like the most brilliant thing to me about Raf Simons and Miuccia Prada, is like they just know how to do one little twist. And I love that this shirt almost feels vintage because of the color. This beige men's shirting feels like they pulled it out of a vintage store. It looks like it was in somebody's attic and grandpa wore it to his wedding day. Something about it gives you an older, dare I say, Hollywood feeling, vibe, whatever it is. Old Hollywood glamour, that's it. Old Hollywood glamour. But like, this to me actually feels old Hollywood glamour and not a sparkly dress. So yeah, honestly, I like it. I think it works. I think it's cool. I think it's fun. Finally, we have Zoe Saldana in Saint Laurent and Cartier. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I like the fishnet crystal neckline thing. I thought that was cool. Like that was fun. I think that it really, honestly, it did a great job actually blending it in skin tone wise, like matching. I think it is really cool. I understand 80s Chanel references. So like the tiers of satin. It's just like we all had to have known that we would get dragged for this. No, we had to have known that. Nobody can be mad at me for dragging this because what could I do? What can I do? It's 3 dollops of raspberry ice cream and a beautiful crystallized shimmering wafer on top. It feels weird. It feels like a weird dress. She is very statuesque and stunning, so like she really can pull anything off from a posture point of view, but like if the clothing is the clothing, it's bad. I can't. The necklace is fine. It's cute. Cartier, blah, 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 but I can't do the dress. So, all right, let's talk about best and worst. Best, I'm putting Ariana Grande. I'm putting Cynthia Erivo. I'm going to put Colman Domingo. I'm going to put Adrian Brody. Isabella Rossellini because I like the storyline. Omar Apollo. I'll put Ray in there. I really love that. Jeremy Strong. Worst, Lily Rose Depp, Monica Barbaro, Mikey Madison. I'm so sorry. Zoe Saldana, Jesse Eisenberg because he's so boring. I think that's good. I think that's enough. So, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I will see you guys on part 2 of the Oscars review. It'll be coming up soon, hopefully. I'll see you on the next one. So, TTYL.